2901 Veterans Memorial Drive in Mount Vernon. Our phone number is 618-242-2002. Don't miss this opportunity as the Jake Hamilton Family Tour comes to Family Life Church in Mount Vernon.
Real Life Radio, 90.9 The Vine.
90.9 The Vine, in conjunction with AreaSports.net, proudly presents The Sports Couch. The Sports Couch is the area's only locally produced weekly sports show that is live on FM radio and also streamed live on both of our websites at AreaSports.net and at WVYN.org. We will be on the couch this morning. Let's find out. The Sports Couch is on the air right now. And hello again, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Couch. You're live on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live with video right now here on AreaSports.net and live audio on WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Danny Anselment. Danny, it's a pretty rainy day out there. I don't think we're going to see any baseball or softball played outside today, and I can't do any farming either, so good day to be inside, good day to be listening to the Sports Couch.
Yeah, you know, it's been a dreary couple days here, and sounds like today's going to be rain most of the day, and maybe by tomorrow evening it'll be out of here.
Well, I'll tell you, the weather's changed dramatically. We had temperatures in the 80s there for a number of days, and today we're in the 50s, and feeling more like
feels awful cold out there to me this morning.
Feels like October instead of April, that's for sure. Hey, we got a great lineup of guests on the show this morning. We're going to be visiting with Stan McNeal. He is the editor of St. Louis Cardinals Magazine, and it's the 25th anniversary of that magazine. And Stan's going to be on the show with us, not only to talk about the magazine and some interviews that he's done recently, but also a little bit about the Cardinals right now and how things are going. And Stan ought to have some good insight to share with us this morning.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get his perspective on that. It's hard to believe that Cardinal Magazine's been out for 25 years now. Yeah. It just seems like that just started 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, no, and it's a great publication, so we'll talk to Stan about that. Also joining us on the show is going to be Gus Gillespie, former assistant coach at Mount Vernon under Doug Creel. Of course, he went on and was head coach at Robinson for 4 years, where he had a tremendous record. Also was at Centralia 1 year, and then for the past 13 years, Danny, he's been down at Marshall County, Kentucky, where he won 21 or more games in 11 of those 13 years. And if you watch or listen to the Sports Couch regularly, you know that a couple of weeks ago we had Chris Young, a sports writer from Kentucky, on the show with us, talking about the dismissal of Gus Gillespie down there at Marshall County, which really took all of us by surprise and shocked us. Well, Gus has landed on his feet again. We knew he would. He's too good of a coach to not be scooped up by somebody. And guess what? He's going to be the head coach of the Marion Wildcats. And boy, they got a good hire there, didn't they?
Marion has to be very excited about that. I was looking at some news feeds about it, and the people were really, really excited about that. But the common denominator was, all right, you've got a coach now. Leave him alone and let him coach.
Yeah, that's right. Leave him alone, because he'll be the third coach in 3 years there at Marion. So we'll see how things go there for Gus. So look forward to visiting with him again this morning. Also, Connie Harre-Blair, the head track and field coach for the girls at Mount Vernon, the Lady Rams, going to join us here in just a few moments. Also, Drew Millwood, the baseball coach at Weber Township, will be on the show with us. And Keith Welch, the baseball coach of the Hamilton County Foxes, also going to join us on the show this morning. So a lot in store for you here on the Sports Couch. Right now, though, Danny's going to go through some of the scores, and I'll get our first guest on the show.
All right, from Friday, the Fairfield Mules defeated Sisney 10-8, South Central 4, Flora 3, Dietrich beat Neoga 5-1, Effingham over Casey Westfield 10-1, Highland beat Alton 6-1, Mount Zion 11, T-Town 6, Newton 20, Oblong 4, Olney 4, Altamont 2. On Thursday, Carmi defeated Fairfield 9-5. Flora defeated Red Hill 11-0. Hamilton County with a big win over Johnson City 9-7. Mount Vernon 9, Altoff 1. Benton Rangers improved to 18-2 on the season with a 5-4 victory over Massac County, and they're 7-0 in the South 7 Conference, or not South 7, Ohio, river to river. Breeze Central 10, Redbud 0. Carterville beat Murfreesboro 6-5. Columbia 7, Carlisle 3, Dietrich 15, Ramsey 0, Trenton falls to Freeburg 12-4, Gillespie 3, Crab Orchard 1, Marion shuts out Cahokia 21-0. That sounded like a football score.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns in that one, right?
Muscuda 17, Roxana 1, Nashville 7, Pinckneyville 4, Newton 2, Lawrenceville 1, Paris 10, Marshall 0, Trico 12-2 over Chester, Waterloo 11, Waterloo-Jabot 1, and West Frankfort beat Heron 7-4. That river-to-river conference, Randy, pretty interesting. The Bent Rangers are 18-2 now on the season. West Frankfort and Heron are 1 game behind them in that, and I think those teams are all going to play this week. So
Wow.
be a lot of action, weather permitting, there in that river-to-river.
Some great high school baseball there. You can check those scores out on our sports website at AreaSports.net. But right now, let's get into some of the interviews this morning. And we're going to talk track and field, namely girls track and field right now, with one of the legendary coaches of the area. And she's had an incredible track and field program over at Mount Vernon for a number of years, and that's Connie Harre-Blair. Good morning, Connie. How are you this morning?
Fine. Just good.
Good. Great to have you on the sports couch this morning. A little wet out there today. I'm assuming you're not running today. Is that right?
No. We were supposed to run yesterday, and that was at the Marion Invitational, but that meet got canceled. And, of course, the weather didn't look good for today to have a reschedule.
Right.
So, now we're waiting for Monday.
Yeah. Well, you've had a good week, though. You had a triangular meet earlier in the week in which you won against O'Fallon and Murfreesboro, with the Lady Rams coming in with 78 points, O'Fallon 66, and Murfreesboro 29. But then you participated in that Muscuda Invitational, which is an incredible meet. That's got 10 teams in it, I think. And Muscuda edged you out 127 to 125, but the Lady Rams took second. But, boy, what a meet you had, and some personal performances that were over the top.
Right. It was a good meet for us. So we started out, you have the 3,200-meter relay, and we were 5th, and then our 4x1. And it was the first time of the season, and we false started. So we just went, whoa, where's it going? But after that, things started really picking up. But our field events, who were going on before that, really did a wonderful job. We have Avian Moore, who is just really taking care of the shot and the discus. And, she holds the record now. She keeps breaking her own record at 44.7 on the shot and then 139 in the discus. So she took care of that area well. And then on the long jump, we have a freshman, Brianna Lydell, who jumped 16.6.5, and she got second there. So that was nice in regard to a freshman coming through. And we have Deja Woods, senior, who just keeps working on her triple jump and improving, and she jumped 33.11. So that was really a good base in there. Our junior, Madison Goodhart, takes care of the high jump. Her best jump this season so far is 4'11". So we want to get her to 5'1". That is the qualifying mark, at the sectional meet in order to go to state.
Okay.
We want to work with that. And so in those areas on our field events. And then that night we also had a very strong 4x2. Running a 149.27, so that was good. And we've been really trying to work with our handoffs, and it's been challenging, but it's getting better. Okay, but with some of these meets being canceled, that always is a great practice time in regard to the meets, because that's when you really the girls get the full effect of running fast. You try to practice fast, but it's always different in the actual meet in regard to that timing going on.
Mm-hmm.
But that was good. Lydell did come back in the 400 and ran a 102.3, and that was great. We had Kate Bushu in the 800, who is our senior and who can run the 800, the mile, the 2 mile, the 400, and always does just a great job in that. And so she had her personal season best, just getting used to that 800, because she hasn't run that very often this year. It's been more the 2 mile and the mile. So our seniors, and then Tredeja Harris, a junior, who runs 100 and a 200, and is just a tiny little lady, but just can really run that 100 and 200. You know, it is a true sprint, and she has a kick of about 30 meters right at the end of that, again, just to make sure she takes care of things.
Mm-hmm.
And she's part of that 4x1 and that 4x2 team. So it's, you know, that kind of in cases are, and then we have Adriana Johnson, who's a junior, who's also helping us with the 4x2 and the 4x4 relay. So that involves our juniors and our seniors.
Okay.
And Bria Moore is just getting healthy, who was very good in our 800 last year in our mile relay. So she's just getting back to being healthy because she got injured early in the season with a hip flexor. So we're starting getting her back in the mix here, and hopefully everything can come through that we have just enough time before the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that Kate Bushu has already signed a letter of intent to run track and field at the next level in college, and I'm assuming that Avion Moore is going to do that too, since she just broke the school record this week,
Yes.
right?
Yes. She's going to be throwing at SIU Carbondale.
Great. Good for her.
So that's where her scholarship is, and then Deja is also hoping to possibly be able to run at Illinois College. She's checking into that, and it looks very good for her.
Awesome.
So it's just really nice to have those three seniors being able to see a future in track and field, but it's also wonderful that they've done so well and keep improving through their 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And still working hard to make themselves better.
Right. Now, Kate, she's going to go to Eastern, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Kate's
he's got her
gonna go to Eastern.
scholarship at Eastern Illinois University.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Avion's going to Southern, and then
Yes.
you'll have one at Illinois College, it looks like, too. So.
We hope so.
Wow, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Danny, isn't that incredible, the number of girls that she just continues to roll out in that track and field program at Vernon?
Oh, you know, Randy, that's just a statement to her program, and what an honor it is to see these young ladies get to continue to do things that they enjoy to do. And not only that, they're going to get their education and stuff because of that. And that's just a great testament to the program there at Mount Vernon.
Sure is, Connie. Yeah, I don't know how you keep motivating those girls to come out and do what they do, but they not only come out, they come out and they excel. So, again, kudos to you and the girls.
Well, and I tell you, it just takes the girls to just kind of believe in the program. The girls and the guys, we work together when we're doing our sprint workouts, and that has helped out a lot for the girls because then they've always got somebody to kind of, run with and make sure that, they're on.
Mm-hmm.
And that has helped out. So, and then we're just trying to kind of get I wanted to mention Rihanna McGee, who is a returning sophomore, who also helps us in that 100 and 200 in the relays. And then we're trying to develop, we have 8 freshmen out, and for the freshmen, it's just such a change from grade school. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And, it's kind of like, oh my, we got to go again.
Right.
And we got to go again against who? It's like Belleville West, Belleville East, like as we said, O'Fallon. And O'Fallon was their JV squad. Now, we didn't have their varsity squad, but the girls at our home meet just really did a really good job. I mean, our times and our distances are good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've been working for, to try to get those times and those distances before we get to that sectional meet so they feel confident that night that they can do the same thing.
Yeah. So weather permitting, what's on the track schedule then for this coming week?
Okay, we've got Heron Invitational on Monday, and then we do not have anything. We did have the Freshman Sophomore Conference, but we have taken that out. Our conference has taken that out for this year because so many times in regard to track, a lot of those girls are freshmen and sophomores also involved in the varsity conference. So it's kind of, sometimes we're kind of working the same people again. So we're not having that meet. We're going to run the varsity meet on May 2nd, and then at the same time of that meet, what girls that did not fit into that varsity entry program will run their event that same night as a JV.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of work it in that way.
Yeah.
And then on May 11th is our sectional at Salem.
All right.
And then before that, we have a Harrisburg on a Monday night, May 9th.
All right. It's coming down to the wire, coming down to the end, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It sure is.
It just seems to fly by, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what the girls were saying yesterday. They can't believe how quick it has gone since, once we started.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's just always something on and going.
That's right. Well, Connie, thanks so much for joining us this morning on the Sports Couch. Always fun to talk to you. And, again, congratulations on the success that you and the girls have had so far, and hopefully you can keep it up. All right?
Okay. I thank you very much.
All right. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
You too.
Bye-bye. It's Coach Connie Harre-Blair of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams. And, again, what an incredible program she's got going on over there. And she's got two girls for sure going on and running track and field at Division I, and may have a third one, Danny. It's just amazing.
It sure is, Randy, and to go to those schools that you're talking about going and going to be a big recruit for them, that really says something. And
Avion Moore breaks the school record in the shot put, too, so congratulations to her. What an athlete she's been, and a fine young lady, too. Just great to see those girls succeed the way that they have. Well, stick around. Coming up next, we're going to visit with Gus Gillespie. A lot of you remember Gus when he was in Mount Vernon as assistant coach under Doug Creel. Of course, he's been at Marshall County, Kentucky for the last 13 years. He's coming to Marion. We'll talk to him next. Coming up on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Real Life Radio welcomes Mount Vernon's newest family restaurant, The Grill, as an underwriting sponsor. The Grill features a full menu of home-cooked food, delicious homemade desserts, and breakfast served all day. The Grill is located at 424th South 44th Street near the interstate in Mount Vernon, and their phone number is 246-1700. Their hours are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Tuesday through Sunday. The Grill in Mount Vernon, where taste makes the difference.
Underwriting on the Vine is provided by B&C Bicycle Fitness in Mount Vernon. B&C Bicycle Fitness specializes in bikes for the beginning rider to the high-end racer and can equip you with a comfortable bike to enjoy a healthy, active lifestyle with family and friends. B&C Bicycle Fitness is a full-service bicycle shop and is located at 410 South 27th Street in Mount Vernon. Their phone number is 816-4077. B&C Bicycle Fitness in Mount Vernon, where the adventure begins.
Support for the Vine Radio Ministry is provided by Quinn Law and Mediation, LLC in Mount Vernon. When faced with a legal problem, you may try to navigate your way through the courts and all that paperwork on your own, only to discover that the legal arena is a lot more complex and involved than you expected. Every attorney at Quinn Law and Mediation, LLC in Mount Vernon has at least 15 years of experience, providing a variety of legal services to the entire Vine listening area. They are committed to helping clients find practical solutions to current legal problems. You can reach them at 242-9580 or visit their website at mountVernonLawyer.us. And welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio. And also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Danny Anselment. Well, many of you remember Coach Gus Gillespie back when he was in Mount Vernon as an assistant coach under Doug Creel. And, of course, he went on to become a head coach at Robinson for 4 years, where he had some incredible success up there. He went 92-23. And went to the state tournament and reached the finals. Also, he had a great year at Centralia at 22-8. The last 13 years, he's been down at Marshall County, Kentucky, where he's had an amazing run down there, Danny. 21 games, 21 or more wins each year in 11 of those 13 seasons. It's just fantastic.
Pretty amazing.
What a track record. Well, now he is going to be the new head coach of the Marion Wildcats, going to be back in Southern Illinois, back in the South 7 Conference. And it's fun to visit with him this morning. Can't wait to talk to him. And here he is right now. That's Gus Gillespie. Good morning, Gus. How are you?
Morning, guys. Been a long time. Excited to be back in Southern Illinois, and good to hear from you guys.
Well, I bet you are excited to be back in Southern Illinois, where you have a lot of friends and a lot of people that you know. And it's going to be really fun to see you along the sidelines in the South 7 Conference again.
Well, I tell you what, through basketball, I've just formed tremendous friendships and relationships. My wife and I, through the years have stayed in contact with a lot of people in Southern Illinois, and it feels like I'm coming home, even though Lawrence is my home. Marion. Just very excited to be back around people I really know.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, it's a good hire, I think, for the Marion Wildcats, and I'm sure that you're probably already jumping in full speed ahead, aren't you?
Well, a lot of things to do. You know, anytime you take a new job, it's been 13 years since I've done that, but you got to roll your sleeves up and get to work and get to know the boys, get to know the school. There's just a lot of new to it, and you got to put your nose in there and get to work.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get into really what happened down there in Marshall County as far as your dismissal or why that occurred. And I don't know that any of us really understand or know that. But we did have a sports writer, Chris Young, on with us a couple weeks ago talking about that. And he said he was one of the early you were one of the first interviews that he had when he was down there as a sports writer. And he enjoyed covering you. And we talked a lot about your track record down there. And again, the fact that you won 21 or more games in 11 of the 13 seasons is really something special to be proud of down there at Marshall County, Kentucky. And they're pretty serious about their basketball down there, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they love their basketball. And, I've had success there. And I've had, great assistant coaches through those years. And I've had boys that bought in, the boys that would listen and play hard and try to execute a game plan. And the credit goes to those boys that I coached 13 years. And also to some of the staff members that I had through the last 13 years. One of those guys being Ron Weinmiller, who's at Benton. He's
sure.
a great guy, and he helped me out. We got started down there. Ron and I went down there together, and then he's been at Benton the last couple of years, where he's had tremendous success. Had a great team this year, but we have a lot of good friends in Marshall County. A lot of precious memories also.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to your years at Robinson because, man, oh, man, you came in Robinson, you turned things around there, and you had 4 very special years at Robinson. You went 92-23 overall, and that 02 team, you made it to the state finals. You went 29-3. Tell us about some of the memories back there in Robinson.
Well, Robinson was a special place. Of course, that's where both my children were born while we were in Robinson and still have tremendous relationships and friendships still in Robinson. But, I came there sometimes timing's everything. And I had Nick Brooks and Tyson Snifter. They were freshmen, and both of them went on to play, college basketball. And they were just great kids. There was a lot of great families there. Chris Brooks played for me, and he played football at Southern Illinois. And, it was just an exciting time. That season, 29-3, I just felt like we had a chance to bring home the big trophy and kind of stumbled, got in early foul trouble against Colono Unity and lost in overtime. And, that game is still fresh in my mind. A lot of times, you coach all these games, but it's the ones you lose you remember more so than sometimes the ones you win, and I think that's the nature of all coaches.
Yeah, and you and Doug Creel have had a lot of conversations, I'm sure, over the years about those kind of things too, because that run that Doug had with the Rams, back in the Kent Williams days when they were undefeated all season long till they reached the Super Sectional against Darius Miles and East St. Louis, and boy, you'd love to play that game over again.
Oh, I know. It seems like yesterday, and Doug and I have talked a lot the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I asked him the other day where's time went because. When I came to Mount Vernon, I'll never forget driving down there the first time I ever met Doug. He was holding his basketball camp, and Scott Gamber, Naki, Williams, all those guys were freshmen, and that's the first day that I met them. And then 4 years, bam, it goes by, and we're sitting in that locker room after that super sectional defeat. But those were great kids and great times, and just an unbelievable experience from 95 to 99 at Mount Vernon.
Yeah, for sure. And as Kent Williams has gone on and been an assistant coach at several different places, did you ever have a situation where he came down to see any of your players play at Marshall County while you were there as far as part of his recruiting or anything?
You know what? I know when he was at Tennessee, we took our team to team camp to see Ken. He might have been in there a couple times during the Hoop Fest, but we stay in contact, and I know he's at SIU Edwardsville and does a tremendous job, coaching basketball. And what a great man he's developed in. And that's the thing about this coaching. You get in and you form lifelong relationships, and now you see these young men that you met when they were freshmen in high school, and now they have families, they have children, and that's the real thrill, I think, when you coach and teach is just the lifelong friendships you develop along the way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Danny?
Well, it's going to be a challenge for you coming to this South 7 this year. It'll be interesting when the Marion Wildcats and the Mount Vernon Rams, you'll be coaching against Doug Creel. I'd like to just be there in the stands and just watch the action between you two guys, because you both are going to be a couple big-time competitors and both going to want to win, but you're still friends.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's one of the things that Doug and I have talked about, and we'll shake hands before the game and be buddies like we are, and for 32 minutes compete, and then you know what, we're going to shake hands and our friendship will continue. And that's the one thing, you got to coach against some of your best friends, and Doug's one of those guys, but we understand it's a business, and really it has nothing to do with our relationship and our friendship. And hey, Doug's been in my corner and a supporter of me for a long, long time, and I'll be able to still call and bounce ideas off his head. And Ron Weinmiller, Bobby Wagner. I've got a strong support system down there around Marion.
Well, I started to say there's a good chance you'll be meeting up with one of your guys that started under you, old Ron Weinmiller. The Benton Rangers and the Marion Wildcats played a couple times this season, so it'd be interesting to see how some of your young mentors take the challenge of trying to put an L on you this year.
Oh, I know it. And, boy, what a team Ron had this year. I was able to watch them a few times, and I was very impressed with the team he had put on the floor here. He's just done a tremendous job at Benton. I know when he got there, it was tough, and now he's winning 29, 30 games a year. That's unbelievable, but I knew Ron would go on and just be a tremendous coach.
Yeah, he has. He's done a great job there, Gus. He sure has. A lot of people, of course, remember back what you went through, you and your wife, Jana, with the loss of your son, Gunnar, and I think that was in 07 or 08, somewhere back in there, and that was such a difficult time in your lives, and all of us were trying to support you in so many different ways, Doug Creel and everybody from Mount Vernon involved in that. I remember the Ram players wearing the T-shirts back then that Gunnar had drawn the train, and the pictures of the trains was on the T-shirts, and that was such a difficult time. And I think that since that time and since his passing, I think that you and Jana have continued with some kind of a fundraising effort to create even more awareness and support for people who face that same thing, haven't you?
Oh, yes. We've continued to have the foundation and fundraise and provide scholarships to some of the students there at Marshall County every spring. So it's something that Jana's taken full-time with, and she's committed to it for the rest of her life. And, the support that we received from a lot of schools in Southern Illinois during that time in our life was amazing. It was just, it's unbelievable to think about the support and prayers that we got out of almost every community in Southern Illinois. And I appreciate it. We'll never forget it. And that was a tough time in our lives. And a lot of people supported us and helped us and guided us through that difficult time.
Mm-hmm. I know you spent 1 year coaching at Centralia, and so many people I talk to from Centralia speak so highly of you, Gus. Even though you were just there 1 year, you would have thought you would have coached there for 9 or 10 years the way people talk, because through that 1 year that you had there at Centralia with the orphans and going 22-8, you made an impact on that community, and I think you made an awful lot of friends there too that you've probably stayed in contact with as well.
Oh, sure. Centralia was, I loved Centralia. We got in there and really, boy, it was so much fun and exciting. And we had I know we tipped the ball in over there at Belleville-Altoff on a last-second play to tie for the South 7 championship that year. And the year that we were there, we had Matt Schaub, and what a league that was. Dentman was at Carbondale, Lish was at Altoff.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a very, very competitive conference, like it is all the time. But Centralia was fun, and like you said, I've stayed in contact with a lot of people in Centralia, and it was a special place also.
Yeah.
Well, Gus, talk a little bit. I'm sure with school not being over and stuff yet, you've not had a lot of chance to get up to Marion, but you've probably been up there and talked to a few of your kids you're going to have coming this year. Talk a little bit about this transition.
Well, first of all, we don't end school down at Marshall until around Memorial Day, so what I'll try to do is just once or twice a week be able to get up to Marion, have some open gyms, get to meet the players, and then June 1st we'll get going. But anytime you take a new job, you got to transition. You have to move. There's a lot of stress involved, and I'm older. I'm wiser now. I'm not going to wear myself out in June and July whenever really what's important is November, December, January, February. So lot of work to do. Have to develop relationships with the players, and more importantly, we got to see what we can do and what we can't do on that basketball floor.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a whole new learning curve for you because you're going to come in with a group of young men that you may have seen them play a game or something somewhere, but basically you don't know their personalities, their strengths or weaknesses, and it's going to be a quick learning curve on some of those things, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It really, you take a job that first year is a transition year, and there's a lot of ups and downs because exactly what you said. You're trying to find out their strengths and weaknesses, but more importantly, you're trying to find out their personalities and how they react in certain situations. So a lot of work to be done in a short time period, but hopefully, the one thing you got to have is a good staff. You've got to have assistant coaches that can coach and can build, and that's something that I'm going to have to get on ASAP this week to try to find out who's going to be helping me at Marion.
Yeah, well, you've also got some other coaches down there on the Marion staff, which are fantastic in other sports, like Coach Martin in football, and what a job he's done there with the football program. And of course, you'll be sharing some athletes with him, football and basketball. But I'm sure you guys will create a special bond and a special relationship. I can see that happening in a hurry.
Well, I've got a lot of respect for Coach Martin. I just know what he's done at Marion. I know his success at Carterville, and I know when you talk football in Southern Illinois, his name's always mentioned. So, one of the things that you have to learn from guys that have had success. So hopefully me being around Coach Martin will make me a stronger coach, a better person, and that's why I'm looking forward to developing a partnership with him.
Well, this Marion team, you should have some talent coming back and some talent coming up. I know they've been to the state finals in the junior high state tournament the last couple of years in that Class L division. So you should have some players that could come right in there and start helping you and making an impact down there.
Yeah, I hope, because you got to have players, especially in that South 7. If you're going to survive, you got to have some horses. And someone told me last week they've had some success the last 2 years at the junior high level, and I know returning. There were a lot of juniors that played for Marion last year that will be seniors to be, and hopefully we can get to know one another and get going, because I know that schedule. Sometimes you look at that schedule and you think, wow, you've got to bring it every night. There's no patsies on that schedule at all.
No, there's not. It's going to be a very, very interesting ride next year in the South 7 Conference. Well, Gus, we'd love to talk longer, but we got to let you go. Got some more people we got to get on, but we've enjoyed the visit this morning. Great to catch up with you again, and look forward to talking to you more down the line, okay?
Hey, anytime. Appreciate what you guys do for Southern Illinois sports. Thanks for having me on the air.
All right, Gus. Have a great weekend, all righty? Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. It's Gus Gillespie. He's the new head basketball coach of the Marion Wildcats. What a great fit I think he's going to be, Danny. And, man, it's going to be interesting to see him not only go against Coach Creel at Mount Vernon, but all the other coaches that he has ties with. And, I didn't realize that Ron Weinmiller had been down there with him as assistant at Marshall County. I'd forgot about that, actually, and some other guys, Coach Wagner.
Yeah, that's where Ron started.
Yeah, and Bobby Wagner and some others that he has ties with. So, boy, it's going to be really interesting to have him back in the area.
Before we go to break, I want to mention Racy Phelps is at Chicago shooting in that National Elk, and she started shooting at 9 o'clock.
All right.
She was the number 5 shooter. Her mother was anticipating her starting to shoot at 9 o'clock. So
all right,
we'll get an update as soon as we get something.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that she does well up there. It's exciting for her and her family. When we come back, we're going to visit with Stan McNeal, the editor of St. Louis Cardinals Magazine. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Blueford, Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
And now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music. 90.9 The Vine.
You've heard the old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, there's actually a lot of truth to that, and you can get one-on-one instruction in baseball, softball, basketball, as well as speed and agility drills at the Sports Zone in Fairfield. The Sports Zone has been in business for quite some time now and has helped many area boy and girl athletes excel in their sport of choice. Lessons and practice times are available at convenient times that meet your schedule. The Sports Zone is located on Delaware Street in Fairfield, and we appreciate their support. And welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. We have live video streaming right now on AreaSports.net and live audio streaming on WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Danny Anselment, and it's time to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals right now and the St. Louis Cardinals magazine, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary, Danny, of that quality publication that people really like to keep up with St. Louis Cardinals baseball.
That's a very special magazine, and they do a great job covering that Cardinal club there. And I'm interested to see his thoughts here this morning about this group.
All right, Stan McNeal, editor of the St. Louis Cardinals magazine, joins us right now. Good morning, Stan. Great to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, welcome back. We had you on last year, and it's great to catch up with you again this year. And what a special time for the St. Louis Cardinals magazine, celebrating 25 years.
Yep, we're doing 25 years this year. We've got some kind of features in the magazine that we're looking back on some of the early issues, and it's kind of cool to see, kind of what the storylines were 25 years ago with the Cardinals.
Yeah, and I've looked at a lot of the recent covers of the magazine down through the years, too, and you've had so many wonderful feature stories there on virtually all of the Cardinal players, and certainly a lot of the franchise players like Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright and Matt Carpenter and people like that. But also you talk to many other people behind the scenes that are so important to Cardinals baseball, like John Mozeliak and Bill DeWitt and others, and so anything that people want to know about Cardinals baseball and kind of behind the scenes, you feature a lot of that in St. Louis Cardinals magazine.
Yeah, because we come out basically once a month during the season, we can't just write the same stories or take the same angles that everyone's using with the daily coverage. You know what the news cycle is like today. Today's news is old by tomorrow in a lot of cases. So we have to, what we do is we try to come up with a different approach to it, or just kind of give fans a different look. For example, earlier this year after the Cardinals signed Dexter Fowler, I had the chance to go out to Las Vegas where Fowler spends his off season and hang out with him there and kind of get to know him that way, go through a day with him, write about that, so readers can kind of get a different look at him than they're going to see at Busch Stadium.
Yeah, and give us a little insight on what you discovered when spending all that time with Dexter Fowler.
So the one thing I took away, I think, is the guy is a Nike tennis shoe freak. He just loves tennis shoes. He's got a shoeseum.
Really?
A shoeseum at his home, and he is part of Jordan Brand, which is about a dozen Major League Baseball players who are kind of handpicked by Michael and Nike to represent the Jordan brand. So they want somebody that's not just a good player, but somebody who kind of fits their, has a good image off the field as well. So Dexter has taken full advantage of his membership. He's got a garage full, just stacked with Nikes, and then inside his home he's got a walk-in closet with another wall full of Nike, or not just Nike, but Air Jordan type shoes. So he's got, I think, every model, and he can talk to you, and he loves talking tennis shoes.
That's kind of neat for a baseball player to be talking tennis shoes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like he's found himself very comfortable in the clubhouse and dugout with the Cardinal players. They all seem to be having some good chemistry in there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think there's any secret that was one of the reasons that the Cardinals wanted Dexter, was someone to come in and kind of inject a little life, a little fun into the clubhouse. And, I knew from going out there in early January, I think it was, to talk with Dexter that he was not going to have any trouble at all fitting in. And then you talk to people on the club, the players, Mike Matheny, Mo, and they all have just raved about his clubhouse presence. I mean, Mozeliak told me that he thinks that, or he's been in the game, I think, over 20 years, and he calls Dexter the most inclusive player he's ever seen, meaning that this is a guy that's not really going to go for clicks in the clubhouse. He brings in, he talks to everyone, jokes with everyone. No one is off limits when it comes to being ribbed by Dexter.
Well, that's always a good thing, At least everybody's subject to the same harassment.
Oh yeah, and they are, no doubt about it, with Dexter.
Well, that's great. Well, talk a little bit more about the magazine and what it takes to prepare that thing, because I know it comes out just once a month, and there's a lot of different ways that you can get it, but a lot of people buy it right there at the ballpark. Some, of course, subscribe to it as well, and you have access to it online. But talk about the intricacies and things that go into putting that thing out each month, Stan.
Well, the staff, it's a small staff. There's 5 of us working on the magazine full time. We use some freelance writers, but we talked ideas. We're always talking ideas. I think anybody in the media world is doing that. But one thing we like to do is in each issue is kind of give a good historical type of perspective. This year, for example, we're looking back at the 67 Cardinals, and with a story in each issue. The issue that's out right now it features a story about Roger Maris, who came to the Cardinals and really made a difference in 67. Not quite like Dexter Fowler has in the clubhouse, but Maris brought kind of a professionalism with him that the players really kind of gravitated towards. So that's in there. This issue, we do a lot of things with photographs. One of the features we had last year that a lot of people really liked was on Lou Brock.
Oh yeah.
We went through about I think it was maybe 15 photographs came up of Lou from the time he was traded to the Cardinals all the way to his 75th birthday party. And what I did was we got prints of the photos, and we sit down with Lou and just kind of have him reminisce about the photos. And I think that kind of gives people a different perspective. Most of these photos, I imagine, Cardinal fans had seen, but they probably had not heard Lou's take on that. So we dig into photos, dig into history, and then, of course, we're definitely going to keep our pulse on what's going on today with the club.
Yeah. Hey, have you ever done a story about some of the things like the concessions and the amount of hot dogs that the Cardinals go through either in a game or in a season or anything like that? Have you ever done anything like that?
We have not done that recently. We basically what we'll do is kind of preview the season in terms of anything that's new. But, in terms of how many hot dogs they ate last year or how many hot dogs were consumed last year, I've seen that number, but it wasn't in Cardinals magazine.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember what it was now, but we know it's a lot.
Yeah, well, you can't go to a Cardinal game without enjoying a hot dog. That's just the way it is.
And I think from what I've heard, the most popular concession item, maybe not at Cardinal games, but at baseball games in general, are the nachos. People love their nachos.
Yeah.
Well, what's your take on this Cardinal group this season? You've been around these players and things about this. What's your feelings on this Cardinal club this season?
I thought they would get off to a little better start than they did. I think we all expected that. I was down there. I was at spring training with them for a month, and I thought they looked really, really good in spring training. I mean, they were hitting the ball in Florida much better than they've hit so far in the regular season. And I keep going back to Johnny Peralta. I thought was going to have a big season. You know, he's in a contract year. He came to camp looking healthy, and he was hitting the ball hard in spring training. Season starts, and we haven't seen a whole lot of Johnny, and he hasn't done a whole lot. So not sure what's going on there. But, you know, I think when you look at this club, I mean, coming into the season, I thought that it was very balanced, very well-rounded. Good rotation, good bullpen, good lineup, improved defense. And really, you know, they haven't shown the improved defense too much, but in terms of the other, we've seen flashes of it, and I think now it's just a matter of can they put it together for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about Adam Wainwright until last night, but boy, he pitched well last night and had 9 strikeouts. And then how about his time at the plate last night? He hit a 2-run homer and a 2-run double, and so Waino's got a little bit left in the gas tank, I guess.
Yeah, and this is a guy that's just so proud. It's going to be really hard to, you know, he clearly doesn't have the stuff that he used to have, but this is a guy that I think is going to do whatever he can to compete out there. And in terms of Adams hitting, if you ever get a chance to go to batting practice and watch the hitters take batting practice, which I think is typically before the fans are allowed in at home games, but Adam regularly puts on a show in batting practice. I mean, there's not too many batting practices go by that he doesn't launch a couple into Big Mac land. You know, I mean, he's hitting them as far, if not farther, than most of the position guys. So it's only batting practice, but it's still kind of cool to see a pitcher hitting them like that.
Well, and there is the competition between him and Mike Leake about who's going to have the best batting average and stuff as the season goes on. And there's a lot of pride from both of those guys about hitting and helping themselves, isn't there?
Oh yeah, and I think you can throw Carlos Martinez into that competition. I'm not sure that Michael Wacha and Lance Lynn are quite the caliber hitter as the 3 others, but you know, Carlos is just so athletic. If he just can get the ball on the ground, he can beat out some infield hits. And you know, the other day, earlier this week when they were at home, Carlos was fooling around in the batting cage and hit one left-handed and hit it off the fence in right field at Busch. So he's got a little in his bat as well.
Yeah, well, and we've had a nice surprise this year with Jose Martinez too, the guy who has toiled for so many years in the minor leagues, and he's made the ball club, and boy, he's making an impact, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a great story, great guy. You know, from Venezuela. He has talked to him several times. I mean, he's got about 20, 30 family members, and they had in Venezuela. And I think he said like one. I don't know if it's his mom or one of them has the MLB package, and he says that there's like a crowd of them over wherever they're watching the game. There's about 30 of them watching every Cardinals game. So the Cardinals have a few new fans this year with Jose. But you know, this is a guy that he's always been a good hitter, and it's a little strange to me why he's never really gotten a shot like he has. Mm-hmm. But you know, he just basically, and he went into this spring training not really, and no one really expected him to make the team. But I would say by the middle of March, it was clear that he was outperforming Tommy Pham, and that extra outfielder's job was going to be his.
Yeah, and he can play first base too.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's about 6'5", 6'6", so he's a big target at first base. I mean, he didn't start playing first base. They had him play some, I think, last year in Memphis, but that was really about the first time he'd gone over there. So he's still getting used to that position. But you know, he's an athletic guy, and he's shown that he can handle that position.
Yeah.
What are you hearing on Kevin Sechrist? I know there's a little bit of concern about him. Velocity's down from 95, 96 mile an hour down to that 91 mile an hour range. He seems to be struggling quite a bit right now. What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, and to me, I think you hit it. It's the velocity. You know, I mean, you remember 2013 when he came up, and what did he allow, like 2 runs and 40 in? I mean, he just had a historic type season, and I think one thing that happened was our expectations at that time, like, wow, this guy, he's as good as any lefty in the National League, you know. And so we have our expectations went up, but since then, But I think he pitched a lot in 2015, a lot in 2016, even though he had the battle of the mono last year for a stretch on the disabled list. And then he came into this season, and he was slow at the start of spring training. Had a balky shoulder, so he kind of entered spring training behind everybody else, and that right there raised the red flag to me. If you're a pitcher and your arm's hurting before the season even started, that's not a good sign, I don't think. But the one thing that Kevin, I'm sure he's more frustrated than any of the fans about the way he started, and it's going to be a really good test to see this guy who's, he's not a young pitcher anymore. This is his 5th year in the big leagues. He's had success. He's tasted failure. So I think this right now it's just kind of a mental thing for him, and I don't believe there's anything physically wrong, but you do have to wonder when you see the drop in velocity like it has been.
Yeah. Carlos Martinez, he's had a great first start, and he's been pretty shaky. What's the situation there? I heard Mike Matheny comment a little bit last night that they'd like to see him do some things a little different on his off days and some of his free throwing time and things like that they think maybe could help him. Maybe he's not taking it quite as serious as he needs to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see him. He works that, but you do think that when you go out there and you take an inning to really find your command of your fastball, something's got to be fixed there. I mean, we haven't really seen that with Carlos in previous years. I mean, there were plenty of times when he, a couple years ago, when he would be all over the place and would need 100 pitches to get through 5 innings. But last year he seemed to move past that, kind of take that next step into becoming a top of the rotation starter. And this year, since that Cubs start, it looks like he's slipped a little bit, and obviously the stuff is still there. I mean, he's still throwing his fastball in the high 90s. He's still got the good breaking pitches, but for whatever reason, he's not finding the strike zone like he needs to.
We are visiting with Stan McNeal from the St. Louis Cardinals magazine, and real quick, Stan, before we let you go, let's let you tell everybody exactly how to get the magazine.
Well, the magazine is, like you said, you can get it at Busch Stadium. You can get it at a lot of the local grocery stores. You can call the Cardinals at 314-345-9000. And you can go to the Cardinals website, cardinals.com/magazine, and you can get the digital version there or order the print edition.
All right. Can you give us a little insight or hint on maybe some more feature stories that we might be looking forward to in upcoming issues of Cardinal Magazine that we can look ahead to?
Sure. I think we talked about one already with Mr. Martinez. I think you'll see a nice feature on him in the next issue.
Great.
And, I also had a real nice sit-down interview with Rick Ankiel, who you probably know has put out a book about his experiences, and that was it's a fascinating book, and it was a fascinating interview, so hopefully it'll be a halfway decent story that I can put together.
Oh, I bet it will be. I think his book's called The Phenomenon, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and and if you were around when he was going through his troubles and then came back as an outfielder, and remember that there's a lot in this book that I didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of Cardinal fans didn't know at the time, but you read it now and you just you almost have a new level of respect for Rick and what he's been able to accomplish.
Great. I look forward to that story then, an interview you've done with Rick Ankiel, and also the one with Jose Martinez. That'll be great to check out in future issues of Cardinal Magazine. So, Stan, thanks so much for joining us this morning on the Sports Couch. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you down the line, okay?
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Great weekend, Stan. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. That's Stan McNeal. He is the editor of St. Louis Cardinals Magazine, does a great job over there. 25-year anniversary they're celebrating there with St. Louis Cardinals Magazine, and some good feature stories to come that he's mentioned, one on Rick Ankiel, talking about his new book called The Phenomenon, and then going to have a neat feature story on Jose Martinez. That'd be cool because Jose has really been an impact player already for the Cardinals, and what a neat story coming from Venezuela, one of 20 family members there, and And he toiled for so many years in the minor leagues, and now he's got his shot, and he's making the most of it with the Cardinals.
He's doing a real nice job for the Cardinals, and he's making it pretty tough for them not to play him right now.
Yeah. Well, can you run through some baseball scores again for us there, Danny? And I'll get Drew Millwood on the phone with us. Drew is the head baseball coach of Weber Township Trojans, so let's get him on.
From Wednesday, the Hamilton County Foxes defeated Woodlawn 17-8, Mount Vernon over Breeze Central 6-5, Wayne City 12, Grayville 1, Weber Township picked up a victory over Gillespie 15-5, Mater Dei 13, Collinsville 9, Bethalto 7, Waterloo 7. Must have been a tie because of weather or lighting or something there, but the final there was 7-7. Cobden 6, Vienna 1. Freeburg all over Oakville 21-8. Mascoutah 4-2 over Jerseyville. New Athens 4, Chester 3. Triad 9, Highland 7. Trenton Westland 24, Dupont 0. And looking over some of these scores, Randy, you're seeing a lot of these 24, 21s, 15, 19, 21. I think this is all related to this pitch count.
I think it could be because you're having to find more guys to pitch innings.
I think it's just created major havoc, especially when the weather's nice and these teams get to play 3-4 games a week. I think it's created so much havoc in this that's why you're seeing some of these outlandish scores.
They're having to pull guys in who maybe haven't pitched before and then try to get some innings out of them because they're running out of pitchers. I'd say that probably got a little bit of something to do with it. Well, let's talk to a local high school coach to find out more. That'd be Drew Millwood, head baseball coach of the Weber Township Trojans, joins us now on the Sports Couch. Good morning, Drew. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Great. Good to have you on the Sports Couch. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk about the Weber Township Trojans. I know you had at least one game this week you got in. You beat Gillespie. Is that the only game you played this week?
We actually had a good week. We went 3-0 this week. We played Odin on Monday, a rain-out makeup, Gillespie, and then we played Christ Our Rock in a makeup on Thursday.
And won all three of them?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. So what's the record now for the season for the Trojans?
We are 6-7 and fighting to get above 500 this week so we can get the rest of our games that are planned in.
Okay. Who's on the schedule for you this week?
We have, it was just changed. We canceled North Clay for Monday so we can move Grayville in because it's a conference game. And we play Brownstown, another rain-out makeup on Wednesday. And then Friday, we scheduled Flora this week. So we've got 3 games this week and try to get all 3 again.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the pitch count situation that Danny alluded to a moment ago. Has that been pretty tough for you guys this year, the new pitch count rule, as far as having enough pitchers, enough arms?
I can tell you we've run into it a little bit, not as much as I thought we would just because of the rainouts. But, we played 3 games this week. We were supposed to play a doubleheader today. And if it hadn't rained, we would have been in a tough spot because we have that conference game on Monday, and we've got to be ready and eligible to pitch in that. And it would have been a tough job. We have about 5 or 6 kids that can throw strikes. We had 5 games scheduled this week, so it would have been a tough challenge. Our pitchers have done well. They've thrown strikes. We haven't walked a lot of people. We had 6 strong innings from Charles Neal on Monday. We had a complete game, short game from Garrett Thompson on Wednesday, and then we had 6 strong innings from Dylan Stratton on or 5 2/3 from Dylan on Thursday for Christ Our Rock. So we've been dodging some bullets, but it's had me worried and up at nights a little bit.
Well, yeah, I would say a doubleheader today would have made it pretty difficult to find the innings. Yeah, it would have. Well, hey, we want to give you a chance to tell all of our listeners about your team, and if you want to run through your roster, position by position, and your pitching staff, and let everybody know a little bit more about the Trojans.
Absolutely. Well, we have a pretty solid team this year. We're trying to improve as the season goes on, and I think we are. We're learning a lot. A-ball, we have kids move around and play a different position every day, so it's been a little different for me to get adjusted and used to and getting kids in the spots that I think they need to be in. But we've had, like I said, good pitching performances from Charles Neal. He's 3-0 on the year. He's pitched 26 innings, got 35 strikeouts, .085 ERA. He has just been dominant on the mound for us. He's got 5 walks. Dylan Stratton's been doing good. Him and Jackson Helm have been tearing it up at the plate. They're both batting over 500. We've had a couple good and bad surprises. We've been a little injury-prone and sick this year so far, so we've had some kids playing and hitting out of positions, but we've had 2 sophomores really step up offensively. Dakota Tate's batting 400 and something. Noah Roddenbush has taken over up in the 2-hole and 4-hole some games and is producing some RBIs for us. So we've had some pleasant surprises. Dalton Hart was a good third baseman for us. He unfortunately has hurt his elbow and won't be back for a couple weeks. So that's kind of been hurting us a little bit. But we've got our catcher back who was sick for the first 2 weeks, and he's been playing out of his mind behind the plate, blocking the ball and throwing people out. So we've come around. We've learned to play with some holes and have gotten better at positions we weren't necessarily thinking we were going to have to play that much. So I've been definitely impressed with how much they've fought and how much they've tried to get better and how much they've continued to fight throughout the season.
Yeah.
You know?
Danny, he mentioned something there earlier, and I think it's very true. You know, when you're playing small schools there, 1A ball, you don't have as many players usually to play with, and so you do have to move them around and wear different hats.
Well, and especially with this pitch count. You know, I mean, that has to be a big challenge, especially when you get to these weeks where you got multiple games, and I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if the IHSA tweaks this system.
It will be. You know, and it's good and bad. I mean, we've had to put people in positions that they normally wouldn't be in, and people have had to learn to pitch that normally wouldn't. But, you know, we responded well. You know, it is what it is. It's the rules for everybody. Our freshmen have come along, and, you know, they know they're not necessarily being asked to do something they should be asked, and they've taken the challenge. So I've been impressed with our team and how we've handled it.
As far as the conference race so far, how's that coming together and shaping up?
We're doing all right. We're 4-2 in the conference right now. We've lost to Wayne City and Waltonville, and we beat Woodlawn, Odin, and Christ-Our Rock. And who is the other one we beat? I'm sorry. That's not a fourth. Who am I forgetting? Christ-Our Rock, Odin, Woodlawn, and...
You mentioned Wayne City.
Wayne City, Waltonville.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm forgetting one of them, but we're 4-2, so...
Okay.
North Clay?
North Clay's not in the conference anymore. Right, yeah, they got out. Right, yeah. Yeah, so you said you got a busy schedule coming up this week, weather permitting, and you said one of the teams on your schedule this week's Flora Wolves, so you're stepping out and playing some bigger schools, too.
Yeah, our athletic director, you know, with all the rainouts, he's done a great job of trying to get us games and trying to find umpires, and he called me and let me know that Flora had an open date and was willing to play, and, hey, we'll take them. We need the experience. We need the at-bats. We need to face some pitching, and, you know, our kids need to throw, too, especially the ones that haven't before, so if they can get some work in, we'll take it.
Yeah, well, great. Well, Drew, we appreciate you joining us this morning on the Sports Couch. Keep up the good work there with the Weber Township Trojans baseball program, and we'll talk to you later then, okay?
Well, hey, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
All right, have a good weekend. Appreciate it. Thanks. Bye-bye. That is Drew Millwood, the head baseball coach of the Weber Township Trojans. They're 4-2 in the conference. I think he said 6-7 overall, but they went 3-0 this week, so they're starting to play some really good baseball, Danny.
Yeah, you know, well, the weather was getting nicer and better, but we're back to the winter doldrums right now, I guess, is what you call what we have going on out here right now.
You know, and if that rain hadn't come today, though, he was playing a doubleheader today, that would have been a real challenge for him to get those
and then turn around and play again on Monday.
Play again Monday, right.
So that definitely would have been a challenge.
Yeah. All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more baseball with Keith Welch, the head baseball coach of the Hamilton County Foxes. We'll do that when we come back right here on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Hamilton County Flooring on the south side of the square in McLeansboro offers a full line of flooring, cabinets, and countertops for your home or business. Countertops or showers are available in granite, quartz, corian, custom marble, or ceramic tile. Their showroom includes a complete line of flooring available in ceramic tile, cork, bamboo, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and carpeting, including name brands such as Armstrong, Bruce, Marazzi, Mulligan, Shaw, and Tarkett. We thank Hamilton County Flooring in McLeansboro for their support.
Joe's Pizza in Mount Vernon is a faithful underwriting sponsor of 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine. Joe's Pizza offers Italian cuisine as well as delicious sandwiches, salads, and desserts. Joe's Pizza also features daily pasta and pizza specials and all-you-can-eat spaghetti on Thursdays. Joe's Pizza is located at 819 Jordan Street in Mount Vernon. Their phone number is 242-2600, and their website is orderjoes.com. Music and ministry on the Vine is provided by Tony Wilt State Farm Insurance Agency in Mount Vernon. Tony Wilt State Farm Insurance Agency specializes in providing your life, health, auto, and home insurance, as well as complete financial services. They are located at 4121 South Water Tower Place in Mount Vernon. Their phone number is 242-1421, and their website is tonywilt.com. We are grateful for their underwriting support.
And welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming right now on AreaSports.net and live audio streaming on WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson along with Danny Anselment. Time to talk some Hamilton County Foxes baseball right now with head coach Keith Welch, who joins us. Good morning, Keith. How are you?
Just fine, guys. How are you doing?
Great. Good to have you on the show. I'm assuming that you didn't have any games scheduled for today. If you did, they weren't going to get played, were they?
Yeah, we actually had a home tournament scheduled today with Carrier Mills in West Frankfort, but you know how that went for today, so it's not a pretty day.
No.
Well, your Foxes baseball's had a pretty good week. Looks like you've went 2-1 on the week. You lost on Tuesday 6-5 to Johnson City. Then you defeated Woodlawn 17-8 on Wednesday, and then you come back and avenge that Tuesday loss with a 9-7 victory over Johnson City this week. Let's talk a little bit about this week.
Yeah, we've had a pretty nice week this week. We started off against Johnson City. Trevor does a great job with those kids, and they always compete and do things right. But we had a couple innings there where we kicked a few balls and didn't make the play in the field and gave up some unearned runs. But we fought back that game, and that's what we've been talking a lot about lately. We've been struggling a little bit. We've just been talking about competing and not letting things bother you after you make an error. I mean, it's baseball, and that stuff happens, that you can't let it carry over to the next inning or next at bat. So I thought we did a better job of that later on the week, and we got 2 wins after that. So.
Well, the talk of the town seems to be the pitch count. Every coach you talk to talks about this pitch count that the IHSA has instated this year, and me and Randy were just talking, and really, you know, for smaller schools, looks like about 3 games a week seems to be the limit. We were looking at some scores, Keith, you know, like 15-0, 24-2, and we felt that was kind of results of this pitch count.
Yeah, you know, I understand why they did it, and it makes sense. It is tough, you know. I mean, we had 6 games scheduled for this week, and get a kid hurt, get a starter hurt on Thursday. Austin Potter's arm was bothering him after the first inning, so then you got to completely rearrange what you're trying to do. And watching the pitch count, and it's a process trying to see how many pitches a kid can throw on one day, if you can bring him back in 2 days. When do you take him out? You know, when is the game out of reach, and when do you? It's just a tough deal, but it's something everybody can get used to.
Well, you know, you as a coach, this has to be a kind of a frustrating challenge, I would think, because it looks to me like you're spending more time trying to figure out all this kind of stuff than you are maybe working on some fundamentals or coaching some kids in a game or putting a play on because you're thinking about, hey, how many pitches this kid got? It looks to me like it could be a big distraction for coaching.
Yeah, you got to spend a lot of time in preparation and even in game during the game. I've got a page taped up in the dugout on the wall that talks about pitch count, and then one of our coaches always has their phone up on the pitch tracker to check and make sure who can throw and how many pitches they can throw on what days to make sure we don't goof up. and throw a kid in there that's supposed to be on rest and thinking he has 60 pitches for that day. So it's a process, but we're getting through it.
Talk a little bit about the conference. How's things been going there in that conference? That Black Diamond's pretty tough again.
Yeah, Edwards County was a nice team. I really think that they'll be a front runner, and we split with them. We split with Johnson City this week, and like I said, Trevor does a really good job with them, and they always do things right and capitalize on mistakes. We played Fairfield one time and had a football score there. They beat us 16-15. We're supposed to play them next week. Next week we got Carmine Tuesday and Thursday, and Fairfield Friday, weather approving, and that'll really tell us a lot about where we're at. We got to do a good job this upcoming week.
Carmine's got a nice team over there too, don't they?
Yeah, they got a really nice team. I think their numbers are a little bit down, but you know what? They've got some kids that have played a lot, and they got some experience over there. So,
well, talk a little bit about your Foxes team now. You've got some games under your belts, and just for the folks that maybe haven't had a chance to get out there and see your Foxes play, talk a little bit about who you got playing where and some of your strengths of this team.
We've got a lot of kids that have actually got some innings in this year, but right now, Garrett Webb's a freshman. He has moved into the leadoff spot and been doing a wonderful job for us, playing in the outfield somewhere. Oakley Dial has been a staple in the 2-hole and at shortstop for the last 3 years. He's did a really nice job hitting over 500. I think he only has 1 error on the year, so he's really stepping up there.
While we're there, looks like he's probably going to get an opportunity maybe to play a little baseball somewhere.
Yeah, Oakley is a fine athlete and had a real good basketball career and everything, but I think he's been contacted by multiple coaches and stuff, and I think he's going to get an opportunity at the next level, so that's really good for him and his work ethic. Batting in a 3-hole for us right now is Remington Carroll. He's a senior. Remington plays about anywhere. He's played shortstop, second base, third base, all outfield positions and pitcher this year. So he's the type of kid that you can throw anywhere, and he's a competitor and he gets stuff done. Hunter Adams is our third baseman. He's batting cleanup for us and done a nice job there. And he's been there for a couple of years, so has a really good IQ for the game and understands how to swing a bat, so he does a nice job for us in the cleanup hole. Ryan Brockett plays first base for us. He's batting fifth, and Ryan's really just started getting stuff going this past week, and he was one of our leading batters last year, and hopefully he'll get things rocking this year. Sixth right now is kind of juggling around. We're playing Logan Hunt a lot. He bats there and plays left field and pitches for us. He does a nice job. Garrett Webb's our second base, or Landon Webb, sorry. Garrett's older brother's our second baseman, and he bats somewhere in a 7 or 8 hole. Caleb Chapman is our catcher. He's been hitting in the 9-hole for us and doing a nice job. He does a really good job behind the plate defensively, and he's one of the fastest runners in our conference. That
Chapman name's been a mainstay for the Foxes behind the plate, hasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't get the luxury of coaching his older brother, who was Levi, was a great competitor and a great baseball player, but he's got a lot of those instincts, and he's a little bit faster than Levi, so that helps him out a lot.
So your team's got a busy week coming up, weather permitting. I'm sure you were enjoying that 80-degree weather we're having, but now we're back to this old cold, damp, rainy weather again.
Yeah, that was great. There for about a week we had it really good. It was dry and got a lot of stuff accomplished, but that's baseball season. I mean, it happens like this every year. You got to stay mentally tough and be prepared, and when you can get on the field, make sure that you're making it worthwhile. I forgot about Austin Potter. He plays center for us, and usually bats in the 5 or 6 hole, hitting the leadoff hole a little bit for us. Does a great job on the mound, and he's a nice competitor for us there also.
You said Austin had a little arm trouble the other day. Was it just kind of a one-day deal, or is it something that's lingering?
Yeah, I think Chapman had a little injury early in the week, and we had to throw Austin behind the plate for 2 or 3 games, and I think it was just a matter of him getting a little bit tired, and he had a little tendonitis in his arm, but he seemed to be okay yesterday.
Well, other than that, you're pretty healthy?
Yeah, everything's going well. We just got to put things together and keep playing at the level we need to, and that's been our problem this year. We've had that 1 or 2 innings where we kick 1 or 2 balls and don't get the key base hit with runners in scoring position, and that's been where we're at, but things have been going a little bit better this week.
Well, Keith, you talking about that, I heard one of the Major League announcers talking last night after the game was over, and he said, baseball's a game that 5-year-olds can play, but it's also a game to compete at every level. It is just so much more intense, and so many little things decide wins and losses, wins and losses, and the farther you go up the ladder, the more that becomes important. And sitting here listening to you this morning at the level you're coaching at right now, it sounds like just a couple of those little things at the wrong time has cost you some games this season.
Yeah, and I agree with that. We have a lot of talent this year. It's just a matter of us mentally being focused. I mean, it's hard to get, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids to understand that if you go 1 for 3 in a baseball game, that 333 is a pretty good average to have as a baseball player. And the kids need to realize, they have a couple bad at-bats a game. They can't let that carry over into the next one because they might be the guy coming up with runners in scoring position late in the game to get the job done, so they can't let that affect them throughout the whole game.
Well, Keith, we appreciate your time this morning. It's always nice to visit with you and hear a little bit about your Foxes. Hopefully the weather will play better here for you, and you can get on a run here and get several games in the next couple of weeks, because next thing you know, you're going to turn around and it'll be regional time.
Yeah, I agree with that, and thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, Keith, have a great weekend. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye. Keith Welch, head baseball coach of the Hamilton County Foxes, went 2-1 this week, but more importantly, they eventually lost earlier in the week to Johnson City.
Yeah, anytime you play a conference team, you want to get as many victories as you can, and it sounds like those teams are two pretty even matched, 6-5, 9-7. So it was like he was talking about. It's just one of those little things probably in each game that cost both clubs a victory this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we got about 15 minutes left here on the show. Gives us a chance to talk about a lot of other things, Danny. And, we got to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. You're going to have Lance Lynn on the mound for the Cardinals this evening in Milwaukee, going up against Chase Anderson. Milwaukee's really been a hot team so far this year. They've been kind of a surprise. Both the Brewers and the Reds have both been a surprise in that Central Division. And the Cardinals got a win last night. Wainwright got 9 strikeouts last night, helped himself at the plate with a 2-run home run and a 2-run double. That was his first win of the season, and he's now 6th on the all-time list in Cardinal victories as he passed Dizzy Dean, I think, last night with that win.
So. That's a pretty amazing feat. Adams toward the tail end of his career here. There's no doubt about that. And, I seen him interviewing him after his last loss, and he said, I just have to adjust and make some things, do some things different than I've been doing in the past. And looks like he may have got some of those things accomplished there last night.
Yeah, well, it was big night for him at the plate, and again, 9 strikeouts. I don't know how long it's been since he's had 9 strikeouts in a game. I'd say it's been a while.
It's been a while, I'm sure. He done a nice job keeping the Milwaukee hitters off pace. Look for him to continue to get stronger and stronger just because he's such a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
But third base situation, what do you think about that?
Well, Jed Jerko is playing well and hitting the ball well. He had 2 more hits last night. He's batting .316 for the Cardinals. I think you got to play Jerko every day, but I also think you got to play Jose Martinez every day. I mean, that guy's batting .417. You can play him either in the outfield or at first base, but he's a hot hand, so why not play him? It's just like Frank Cusimano said a few weeks ago when he was on the show with us. When you got the hot hand, you got to play with him.
Well, I don't know what the deal is over there at third, but Jerko is definitely right now. It looks like he's taking that job away from Peralta. I'm not sure Peralta's healthy. I'm not sure what's going on there. He may be the odd man out before this is all said and done.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the Cardinals release Johnny Peralta before long. It's the final year of his contract. Clearly there's something going on. He's technically on the DL right now, although it may be only the 7-day DL, but he is on it. So, and they've not given any details of what's going on. But, yeah, I just don't think that there's a place for Johnny Peralta because you've also got Greg Garcia, too, that you can run in and out of there as a utility player. They're still, experimenting with Colton Wong, trying to give him every chance they can at second base because of the fact that they're paying him so much. But Again, the fact that you can move Jerko around to any of those positions, and you can move Garcia around to any of those positions. You know,
Garcia played a couple of great games this week. I think you could be right about Peralta. The Cardinals, especially when Tyler Lyons, if he's going to be healthy here, they need him up there in that bullpen. I know they've got a couple other players that they're going to have to keep or they're going to have to expose them, and they think somebody will definitely snatch them up.
Yeah.
So Peralta could be the odd man out in this deal because he didn't come in and didn't perform right off the bat, and he may not get another chance.
No, I just don't think he will. The way that Jerko is playing, Garcia's playing, Carpenter, again, he can interchange him in all these different positions too, and allows you to get Martinez in there one way or the other. It's good to see Sungwon Oh finally coming around. He's had 3 saves this week, so he has finally starting to get his stuff together. Rosenthal seems to be fitting in as the 8th inning guy. So you got kind of a good 1-2 punch there, perhaps, of Rosenthal in the 8th and O in the 9th. But we're still struggling with who we got to have to finish up the 6th inning if needed be, and that 7th inning, because Sechrist is still, somewhat questionable. Cecil's not really been the answer with all the money they're paying him, and then Broxton.
He had a good game last night.
He did. He came in and he struck out 3 last night, but he had been struggling last night.
Yeah, tremendously.
Yeah,
I think Tyler Lyons will be a good addition out there in that bullpen. You start talking about guys getting released and changed. I think Broxton could be another one of those guys that if it gets to be a number crunch, I could see him getting released.
Well, there's a guy that's going to be coming back that they're going to eventually bring up, and they may bring him up sooner than later, and that's John Gant.
Right.
Because Gant was so impressive down at spring training, and he's been on the DL right now. Okay,
right.
They sent him down to AAA, but now he's been on the DL. As soon as he gets off that DL and he pitches a little bit there in AAA, I really look for Gant to come up and be on the Major League squad. So, again, somebody's going to have to go off to make room for Gant.
Somebody will go, and, some of these guys at the tail end of their career that's just hanging on by their shirt tail, I'm afraid they're going to be the victims. Another thing, Mozeliak looked like he has squashed the Adams playing left field deal.
I think so. So what that does is that limits Matt Adams in playing first base only. Well, okay, you've got Carpenter there at first base. You got Jose Martinez at first base. Where are you going to play Adams at?
I think he's definitely trade material.
I think he might be too.
I think he's definitely a trade deal. But Matheny, some of the times you have to question some of his loyalty to these guys. He was setting Gerchik and some of these guys that they've committed to play Matt Adams out here just because he wanted to give him some at-bats. And pressure was starting to get a little intense, and Mozeliak finally he bit back a little bit the other day and said, we're not going to do this.
Well, and Mozeliak also said that nothing's off the table.
Right.
So meaning that anything is possible, meaning that Matt Adams could be traded, Colton Wong could be traded, Johnny Peralta could be released. I mean, it sounds to me like there are going to be some moves taking place probably here in the next few weeks.
Well, I look for him to get started before the trade deadline. You know what? I'm not sure Mike Matheny is not an option either.
Well, I think he's under the microscope, certainly. And if the Cardinals don't start, playing better baseball overall, I think there's going to be some questions for him.
Yeah, even though they just gave him a contract extension and all this other stuff, that's happened a lot in Major League Baseball. You get a contract extension, and that's not a good sign. We're going to pay you, but we're getting ready to fire you, but we're going to at least compensate you for what you've done. But the manager is still responsible for his team performing. And I don't know, I'm beginning to question whether some of these guys are really relating to him. I don't know. I thought it was a good hire when they hired him, but it seems like the news wearing off in the clubhouse, and they talk about morale and things like that. Well, you know what? It all starts with him. Or it's going to fall in his lap anyway.
Well, the buck stops here, as they say. So,
so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But, hey, The Chicago Cubs aren't tearing it up either.
No, in fact, let's look at the standings right now. The Cubs are 9-7, Cincinnati's 9-8, Milwaukee's 9-9. So I mean, there's a crowd there at the top of the division. And as I said, the Reds and the Brewers have kind of been a surprise right now. And both those teams are young.
Yeah,
they're young. So,
but Cincinnati's already starting. They've lost a couple of their good young pitchers out with some arm problems and some things like that. So, those things will catch up with teams like that eventually over the season.
The big surprise, I think, this year, and you look at individual statistics, Cincinnati Reds' Zach Cozart. He's batting .380.
Yeah.
He's among the leaders in batting average for the Reds. And then also right in there is Eric Thames for the Brewers. He's batting .379. So there's both teams have players that weren't expected to do what they're doing, and Cozart and Thames doing great for the Reds and the Brewers, respectively. Bryce Harper is leading the National League in hitting with an average of .407. And as you go down through there, you don't see any Cardinals on that list of top 25 or 30 batting averages, and so that's a concern.
That is a concern, and that's another guy, John Mabry. He's got to be feeling a little pressure too. His hitters aren't performing. And, unfortunately, sometimes when the big league players don't perform, the managers take the hit first.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this Cardinal organization. They have shown a little life here the last few games, like they may be starting to get some things straightened up. But, you can't dig yourself a hole that you can never get out of.
No. But the other thing, I mentioned that you don't see any Cardinals there in the top 20 of the batting averages in the National League. You also don't see any Cubs there either.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because I'm telling you, that Cubs team has got some hitters on it.
Yeah, they do. They do.
The Pirates lost a key player this week. It'll be interesting to see how that affects their team. That was a big hit for the Pirates.
But your top hitters in the National League, Bryce Harper of the Nationals, Freddie Freeman of the Braves, Ryan Zimmerman of the Nationals, Zach Cozart of the Reds, Eric Thames of the Brewers, Justin Turner of the Dodgers, Will Myers of the Padres, J.D. Realmuto of the Marlins, Suarez of the Reds, David Freese of the Pirates, hitting .340. He's up there among the league leaders. And then you've got Nolan Arenado of the Rockies, Marcell Ozuna of the Marlins, and Cesar Hernandez of the Phillies, a bit of a surprise, and Daniel Murphy of the Nationals. Again, no Cardinals, no Cubs.
There's some names on there that'll be on there year after year, but there's also some names on there that's a little bit of surprise that will be replaced by some Cubs hitters for sure before the season.
You would think so. And looking at home runs, I mentioned Eric Thames, how well he's batting. He's been the surprise for the Brewers. He leads all of Major League Baseball in home runs with 8.
Yeah.
This guy's come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, every season seems to have one or two of those guys.
And as far as RBIs, Bryce Harper, no surprise, leading everybody there with 20 RBIs so far. And Marcell Ozuna of the Marlins also has 20 RBIs, so kind of interesting there.
Where's the guy from the Nationals going to wind up?
Bryce Harper?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's going to be a free agent.
Somebody's going to pay him a lot of money, though. Somebody's going to pay him a lot of money.
Will he be the highest paid player in baseball?
He very well could be. If he's not the highest paid player, he'll be, right there with him. Because if you look at Bryce Harper and you compare him to Mike Trout, if you're playing fantasy baseball, who would you rather have, Bryce Harper or Mike Trout? I mean, that's almost a flip of the coin.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it really is.
They're
both right there.
Either one of them is the guy you want to build your franchise around.
Yeah. Let's look at pitching across the National League. A couple surprises. Jeremy Hellickson of the Philadelphia Phillies has started off 3-0, and he's pitching very, very well, and I think that's been a surprise to a lot of people.
Oh, I'm sure it has been,
So there's the Cardinals beat him last night, but Wiley Peralta of the Brewers, suffered his first loss last night when the Cardinals beat him.
4-11 against the Cardinals now.
Yeah, 3-1 overall. The Cardinals got him last night, so pretty interesting there. Hockey, the Blues back at it tonight in Minnesota against the Wild. It's 3-1. The Blues could close it out again, Boy, you don't want to lose that tonight and make it too close for comfort at 3-2. You got to take care of business tonight. Blues need to get this done.
Blues need to finish this one tonight. Hockey's pretty exciting in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I mean, people are really getting behind that.
Yeah, because actually we were not the favorite against Minnesota, but they got off to that 3-0 start. Thought we were going to sweep them, but stubbed our toe the other day, and they play again. I said tonight it's actually this afternoon. It's a face-off at 2 o'clock this afternoon in Minnesota, the Blues and the Wild. Let's hope that the Blues can finish them off. Anything else, Danny?
No update on Racy Phelps, so we can't pass anything on. We don't have any updates on her, how she's doing. She was supposed to start shooting around the 9 o'clock hour. She was shooter number 5. So, anyway, best of luck to that young lady up there today. Win, lose, or draw, she still made Hamilton County very proud.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Cubs are in Cincinnati today. It'll be Arrieta pitching for the Cubs against Reed for Cincinnati. That's a 12 noon game there. And the Cardinals, again, are at Milwaukee tonight at 6 o'clock with Lance Lynn on the mound for the Redbirds against Chase Anderson of the Brewers. So we're out of time.
Been another good week.
We've had a great show again this morning. Enjoyed all the guests we've had on. Connie, Harre-Blair, Gus Gillespie, Stan McNeal, Drew Millwood, and Keith Welch. Thanks to all of them for joining us this morning on the Sports Couch, and thanks to all of you for either logging in to watch or listening on the fine radio station to pick up the broadcasts this morning. All right. Well, let's hope the weather improves, Danny.
Nicer weather, a lot of baseball and softball for next week.
You know what they say about these April showers, right?
Yep,
Mayflowers. We'll talk to you next week. Same time, same station, same website. All right here. The Sports Couch at 8:30. It's 90 minutes of great local sports talk every Saturday morning during the high school sports season. Have a good weekend, everybody. So long.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Blueford, Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
And now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music. 90.9